Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and we are back with more Eats, Shoots, and Leaves. So yeah, this was meant to be up Tuesday, of course, but I've been behind. But I'm getting things caught up slowly but surely. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. I hope that by now you are already feeling sorry for the apostrophe. Such a list of legitimate apostrophe jobs certainly brings home to us the imbalance of responsibility that exists in the world of punctuation. I mean, full stops are quite important, but are quite important, aren't aren't they? Yet, by contrast to the versatile apostrophe, they are stolid little chaps, to say the least. In fact, one might dare to say that while the full stop is the lumpen male of the punctuation world, do one job at a time, do it well, forget about it instantly. The apostrophe is the frantically multitasking female, dotting hither and yon and succumbing to burnout from all the thankless effort. Only one significant task has been lifted from the apostrophe's workload in recent years. It no longer has to appear in the plurals of abbreviations, MPs, or plural dates, 1980s. Until quite recently, it was customary to write MPs and 1980s with apostrophes. And in fact, this convention still applies in America. British readers of the New Yorker who assume that this August publication is in constant ignorant error when it allows 1980s evidently have no experience of how that famously punctilious periodical operates editorially. But it is in the nature of punctuation lovers to care about such things, and I applaud all those who seek to protect the apostrophe from misuse. For years, Keith Waterhouse operated an association for the abolition of the aberrant apostrophe in the Daily Mirror, and then the Daily Mail, cheered on by literally millions of readers. He has printed hundreds of examples of apostrophe horrors, my all-time favorite being the rather subtle prudential. We're here to help you, which looks a bit unsettling until you realize that what it's supposed to say is prudential. We're here to help you. And Keith Waterhouse has many successors in the print. Kevin Myers, columnist of the Irish Times, recently published a fictional story about a man who joins the League of Signwriters and Grocers and Butchers Assistants, only to discover that his girlfriend is a stickler for grammatical precision. Meanwhile, William Hartston, who writes the Beachcomber article in the Express, has come up with the truly inspired story of the apostropher royal, an ancient and honorable post inaugurated in the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. His story goes that a humble greengrocer in days of yore was delivering potatoes to good Queen Bess and happened to notice a misplaced apostrophe in a royal decree. When he pointed it out, the Queen immediately created the office of Apostropher Royal to control the quality and distribution of apostrophes and deliver them in wheelbarrows to all greengrocers of England on the second Thursday of every month. Apostrophe Thursday. The present Apostropher Royal, Sir Danville O'Madarlin, concerns himself these days with such urgent issues as the tendency of trendy publishers to replace quotation marks with colons and dashes, and the effect of which is the pairs of unwanted inverted commas can be illegally shipped abroad, split down the middle to form low-grade apostrophes, and sold back to an unwary British public. Do people other than professional writers care, though? Well, yes, and I have proof in heaps. As I was preparing for this book, I wrote an article in the Daily Telegraph hoping to elicit a few punctuation horror stories, and it was like detonating a dam. Hundreds of emails and letters arrived, all of them testifying to the astonishing power of recall we sticklers have when things have annoyed us. It was 1987. I'll never forget. And it said, cream teas. And also to the justifiable despair of the well-educated in a dismally illiterate world. Reading the letters, I was alternately thrilled that so many people had bothered to write, and sunk low by such overwhelming evidence of Britain's stupidity and indifference. The vast majority of letters concerned misplaced apostrophes, of course, in potatoes and lemons. But it was interesting once I started to analyze and sort the examples to discover that the greengrocer's apostrophe formed just one depressing category of the overall, total, mind-bogglingly depressing misuse of the apostrophe. Virtually every proper application of this humble mark utterly stumps the people who write to us officially, who paint signs, and who sell us fruit and veg. The following is just a tiny selection of examples I received. Singular possessive instead of simple plural. The greengrocer's apostrophe. Trousers reduced. Coast Guard cottages. Next week. Nouns and apostrophes. BBC website advertising a grammar course for children. Singular possessive instead of plural possessive. Pupils' entrance on a very selective school, presumably. Adult Learners Week, lucky him. Frog's piss. French wine putting unfair strain on a single frog. Members may bawl, but with whom will the member dance? Nude readers' wives, intending readers' nude wives, of course, but conjuring up an interesting picture of polygamous nude reader attended by middle-aged women in housecoats and fluffy slippers. Plural possessive instead of singular possessive. Land's End, mail order company which roundly denies anything wrong with its name. Bob's Motors, No possessive or possessive is required. Citizens Advice Bureau, men's toilets, Britain's biggest junction, Clapham. Dangling expectations caused by incorrect pluralization. Pansy's ready. Is she? Cyclists only. His only what? Please replace the trolleys. Replace the trolleys what? And best of all, something out. A sign seen in New York, under which is written wickedly, but he'll be back shortly. Unintentional sense from unmarked possessive. Dicks and tray. Try not to think about it. New members welcome drink. Doubtless true. Someone knows an apostrophe is required, but where, oh where. It needn't be a pain. On a van advertising discount glass. Ladies' hairdresser. Men's coats. Children's education. In a letter from the head of education in the National Union of Teachers. The People's Princess. On Memorial Mug Fred's restaurant. Apostrophes put in place, names, proper names. Dear Mr. Stevens, Christmas trees, candies, or Gladys, badge on salesgirl, Didsbury. It's or its instead of its. Hundreds of examples, many from respectable National Trust properties and big corporations, but notably, hot dogs a meal in itself, sign in Great Yarmouth, recruitment at its best, slogan of unemployment agency, to welcome you to the British Library, its services and catalogs. Reader induction pamphlet at British Library. And plain illiteracy, giving the full name and title of the person whose details are given in section 2. On a UK passport application form. Make our customers' lives easier. Abbey National Advertisement. Gateaus. Evidently never spelled any other way. You're 21 today. On a birthday card. Commas instead of apostrophes. Antiques on A120 near Colchester. Apples, oranges, grapes, all thankfully on the same stall. Signs that have given up trying. Reader author photograph, customer toilet. This is a mere sample of the total I received. I heard from people whose work colleagues used commas instead of apostrophes. From someone rather thoughtfully recommending a restaurant called L'Apostrophe de Rame. Address on request. And from a Somerset man who had cringed regularly at a sign on the market garden until he discovered that its proprietor's name was, you couldn't make it up, R. Carrot. This explained why the sign had carrots at the top, you see, but then listed other vegetables and fruits spelled and punctuated perfectly correctly. So, yeah, that will end that particular episode. We're at a stopping point on that. But let's go back and look at some of this stuff here. Okay, we start out. We're still talking more about the apostrophe from last episode. And how it's kind of being overused. See, I've always thought when you deal with plurals of abbreviations, you need the apostrophe outside the S. Because if you're talking plural, you're talking multiple, which means you go S apostrophe. But apparently they've got 1980 apostrophe S was the way it was originally written. But apparently in Britain, at that time this book was printed, you no longer needed the apostrophe. But anyway, and she gets into talking about, Prudential, we're here to help you. They didn't put an apostrophe in were. Which means it don't mean we are at that point. It means they were here to help you. And of course it's supposed to have that apostrophe, meaning we are here to help you. But without it, it's they were here to help you. But they talk about a number of people writing about punctuation in papers and stuff. Now, she mentions, and this is just quite funny because I seriously doubt it's an actual person's name, but Sir Danville O'Madarlin. It's Danville, D''Anville, and then the last name O'Madarlin, O''M'', DARLIN'. But yeah. They talk about seeing things that stuck in their mind forever in the way punctuation was used, and mentions cream teas, spelled CREAMTEA apostrophe S. Cream teas what? That's what you're saying when you write it that way. What is it that we're referring to that belongs to cream tea? But if you just want to talk about multiple cream tea, it's just CREAMTEAS. No apostrophe. And then they start listing some of the mistakes. And they go singular possessive instead of simple plural. And examples they give: trousers reduced. They have trousers, TROUSER, apostrophe S. Trousers reduced what? What is belonging to the trousers? They didn't need the apostrophe. Same with Coast Guard's cottages. Putting an S, or putting an apostrophe between the E and S in cottages. You know, just simple mistakes that make things so weird to look at. Singular possessive instead of plural possessive. Pupils entrance. They have it as just PUPIL apostrophe S. So it's one pupil, and that's his entrance only, instead of PUPILS apostrophe. It's an entrance for multiple pupils. And then they do the same with Adult Learners Week. So it's a week solely for him as an adult learner. Frog's piss. Instead of multiple frogs, it's one frog. Members may ball. Again, instead of multiple members, it's just one member, and it's his May ball. Nude readers' wives. They have it as if it's only one nude reader and all his wives, multiple wives. Plural possessive instead of singular possessive. Land's End. And then, of course, they have it spelled LANDS apostrophe. No, that's meaning multiple lands. The end of multiple lands. Instead of LAND apostrophe S, indicating it would be possessive by the one land. Or Bob's Motors. BOBS apostrophe is multiple Bobs. Should be BOB apostrophe S, of course. No possessive word possessive is required. Citizens Advice Bureau. It should be CITIZENS apostrophe. But there's no apostrophe. Men's toilets should be MEN apostrophe S. But again, there's no apostrophes. Dangling expectations caused by incorrect pluralization. Pansy's ready. Pansy''S. Her ready what? Now, I think they're trying to say Pansy is ready, but again, you should just is. They've got cyclists only. CYCLIST apostrophe S. His only what? And please replace the trolleys. TROLLEY apostrophe S. You didn't even need an apostrophe. And best of all, let's see. Unintentional sense from unmarked possessive. Dixon Dre. New members welcome drink. Written without the apostrophe. Yeah, the new members do welcome the drink. They're like, welcome drink. But if you put an apostrophe at the end of members, it is a drink welcoming new members. Being the welcome drink for new members. Someone knows an apostrophe is required, but where oh where? Ladies hairdresser. They've got it spelled LADIE apostrophe S. The apostrophe should go after the S, not before. Same, they've got children's education, CHILDRENS apostrophe. You don't need it after the S with children because the way it's spelled indicates it's a plural. And thus you put the apostrophe between the N and S. Then apostrophes in place names and proper names. They got Dear Mr. Stevens, but it's spelled STEVEN apostrophe S. Dear Mr. Stevens what? Dog? Horse? Wife? Because when you write it that way, you're not talking to Mr. Stevens. You are talking to something he owns. And they've got Xmas trees. XMA apostrophe S. There's no need for apostrophe in there. It's or its instead of its. Hot dog's a meal in itself. ITS apostrophe. And I think all you need was just ITS. And welcome you to the British Library, its services and catalogs. What about its services and catalogs? Yeah, it's not meant to be IT apostrophe S. It probably should be ITS apostrophe. Plain illiteracy. Giving the full name and the title of the person whose details are given in section 2. They have whose as WHO apostrophe S. No. All you needed was WHOSE. Whose. Not a possessive indicator. You just needed whose. Make our customers' lives easier. They have CUSTOMER apostrophe S. Lives. LIVE apostrophe S. You don't need that second. You don't need an apostrophe in lives. And yeah, you're 21 today. They have it spelled YOUR. It should be YOU apostrophe RE. And then they talk about commas instead of apostrophes. Apples, APPLES, comma S. Not oranges, ORANGE, comma S. Yeah. Signs that have given up trying. Reader offer. Author photograph. Is it a photograph of the author? Is it a photograph he took? We don't know. We have no clue. All it says is author photograph. But yeah. And finally she ends with talking about l'apostrophe in Reims. L apostrophe A L'apostrophe. L'apostrophe. Because if you've read anything in that's got French, you'll see sometimes that first letter apostrophe the rest of the word. But yeah. We'll go ahead and end this here. Woo! Explaining everything took longer than reading. But anyway, as always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. Goodness, excuse me. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.